Hussain, we are waiting for others to join. We'll start.
Okay, no worries.
Guys, 2 more minutes. We will wait for others to join and then we'll start. A minute more, guys, and then we'll start. Meanwhile, if you have any questions related to load balancer, please let me know. Before that, can you guys see my screen and hear me well?
Yeah, I can see the screen and hear.
So let's start. Do you guys have any questions on the topics which we discussed yesterday, on jargons which we used yesterday? Any questions related to that before we start the practical today? Yes, guys. Anyone has any questions, please let me know. If not, let's start today's practical. Before we go to the portal, I'll quickly explain it to you that what exactly we are trying to do. So we can check later. We can check whether the load balance is working as expected or not. So here I have created 3 servers. Okay, one of them is in diagram we have 4. So let's delete one. We'll only deal with 3 servers. In our scenario, we do not have the database separately because it's a very small website, one pager. We do not require a database for this. Okay. Yeah. So we have 3 servers. Server number 1, I have VM. I have one. It is 20.124.127.252. I hope all of you can see the screen where I'm typing, right? This is the VM1 I have. VM2, or if you want, I can give the name also. Then I have VM2 here. Just 20.228.169.181. Then we have third server. So we are going to deal with these three servers. Okay. All these three are public IP. This is just for the practice purpose. We are taking public IP. Otherwise, we never deal with public IP. Most of the cases in real-time scenario, you will always have private IPs. In this one, we do not have. I'm just keeping it for the diagram purpose, but we do not have this setup as of now. The database, we do not require it. Is it clear till here, guys?
Yes.
We are
Yes.
going to assign, we are going to configure a load balancer. While configuring the load balancer, we will have to configure a public IP. When we do that, we will see the public IP and that number will try to fetch here. Before that, let's quickly go and check if these servers, the websites which we have created, if these are accessible. So could you guys quickly go ahead and check all these three servers, the public IP, which you can see on your screen. Quickly type it on your any browser. Any browser should do, and check if these websites are accessible. And let me know. Anyone was able to access all these websites, three websites, these three servers we are talking
I'm
about.
trying.
I'm sorry, what is that, Irfan? Okay, accessible. Fine, got it, got it.
Yes, it is accessible.
But did you guys see any difference between those three websites? I mean, later on, if I create a load balancer, and if I ask you to access it using load balancer IP, will you be able to make difference that which one is which? Did you see any difference between those three websites, or all have default page? What did you find?
All
Default
had the
page.
same. Yeah.
Default page, right? So I am quickly making some changes now. We'll try it one more time. Close the browser or maybe use a different browser, because if you use the same browser, cache files will be there and you will not be able to see the changes. So let me make changes quickly. In a minute, I'll make changes and then we can see it. I'll mention the IP, this one, and IP also. So it will be easier for us when we do the practical or when we try testing it. Okay, now try the website, the first server to ending with 252. And let me know if you see any changes there. Make sure you close the browser and open it again, or maybe open a incognito mode or some different browser.
VM001.
Okay, you can see the name, right? Making
Yeah.
changes. Great. Making changes in the second one as well. And I hope you can see the IP also, right? I've typed the machine name and IP.
For second also?
No, for the first one.
Yeah, for first one.
Second, I'm doing it right now. Okay, it's done for second one. Please confirm if you are able to see. And meanwhile, I'll work on the third one.
Yes, for second one also it is visible.
Okay. Almost done. We'll make the changes in third one, and then at least we will have 3 different sites. But as I told you guys, this will not be the scenario when it comes to the real environment. There you will require that is the aim to have similar website, similar database. Okay. Here we are just doing it for the practice purpose. I hope this concept is clear, right? Why are we doing it? Why are we doing this different IPs and different websites? Right. So at least we should know whether our solution is working or not, only for the testing purpose. But when it comes to real time, real life scenario, so you will have the exact same websites on all of the servers and database has to be same. That is when you will call it highly available. If every server will have different data and different websites, that is not highly available for you. Can someone check for the server 3 and confirm?
Yes, it is visible.
Now I have the public IPs here. I'm not sure if that will go with load balancer with the recent change. We'll try with the public IPs first, and if they don't work, we will have to remove the public IP before adding them to a load balancer. So very first thing, we'll create a load balancer. How do we create a load balancer? Here you are on the home page. If you have recently created, you will see this. If not, search it here. Type load balancer and you will find this. Click here. You will see the load balancing services. Under load balancing, you can create application gateway, front door, traffic manager. Today we are talking about load balancer. Here it is, load balancer. Click here, create a new load balancer. Or you can click here also. Okay. Select your subscription, whichever is shared with you in your high level diagram or low LLD or HLD, whatever you have. Resource group, all this information you are going to get. Where will you get all this information, guys?
Low
This is
level
where will you
diagram.
get this information? Yeah, diagram or ticket or anything, could be email, right? But you don't have to decide this. You will know which subscription you are working on. You will know which resource group you are talking about. You will know what is the naming convention. Region, you will know which region it has to go. Okay. SKUs, we are taking standard as of now. The difference between standard, gateway, and basic, we have already discussed. Public and internal, public we'll discuss later. First, let's understand the internal one. Okay. So once you know the internal, you will understand the public. Or let's just go ahead with the public one first. We'll go ahead with public, regional or global. Can anyone explain it to me? What is the difference between regional and global service? Not talking about load balancer, any service. When it is regional, what does it mean? And when it is global, what does it mean? We have services,
Regional,
right? Yes, sir. You're saying something. Yes, Srishti, are you answering something? Srishti or
yeah,
anyone?
yeah, for regional and global only.
Hmm.
If the machines are in the same region, we do like the regional thing, and if they are in a different region, we do global. I mean the pairing wala thing I'm saying.
No, that is a different question. That is peering. My question is, what is a regional service and what is a global service? Virtual network, is it a regional service or a global service? Anyone can answer, not only Srishti, anyone can answer. Yes, guys, anyone?
Yeah, the services which are specific to a region, that is regional, and services what we can use globally, that is global. So VNet we will consider as a global service because in every region we can make VNet.
Not really.
Okay.
Before I answer this is very basic question, guys. So instead of I answering, I'll leave this up to you guys. Today, at least search the definition of regional and global. What is a service? By the way, resource group, is it a regional or a global service?
It's a regional service, right?
Resource group. No, it's a global one. And VNet, it is regional. Now, how it is? Read the definitions and you'll come to know. If you still don't understand, maybe next session we'll cover that. But it's a very small thing, just a definition you have to read, and I'm sure you will understand.
Okay, no, because I also checked it once. They are like थोड़ा confusion है इसमें. कैसे differentiate करते हैं, मतलब क्या base है जिस basis
It's okay,
पे
you just have
regional.
to read the definition. इंट्रो में कोई पूछता है बस उतना ही बोलना है. That's okay.
Okay.
बहुत ज्यादा टेक्निकल उस पे हम लोगों को ये करना है नहीं. Right? In fact, in load balancer also, you will see many options. And not only load balancer, in future, these practicals also will see many options. But we will be focusing only on those जो interview में आ सकता है और जो आपके काम में आएगा आगे. Right? So we'll not be going as per the Microsoft का जो पूरा structure होता है learning का, where you will teach each and everything. We do not have that kind of bandwidth, time, और उतना ये है भी नहीं, it doesn't matter. उतना सब सीख के हम लोगों को कोई काम भी नहीं आएगा वो. So we are focusing only on those things based on the experience. जितने interviews हमने दिए हैं this batch prior to इसके पहले वाली batch, उसके पहले वाली batch, and जो काम कर रहा है उसी batch से, for example अरबाज, कुमेल, Tabrez, all these people are working. So जितना काम आता है उसी को देखकर I'm just driving the training. So you don't have to learn unnecessary things. Once you clear the interview, once you are at your job, then it's free for you. जितना सीखना चाहो सीख लो आप लोग. Okay, so let's go ahead with this one. Now, this is definitely very frequently asked question. Standard और basic में क्या difference है ये पूछा जाएगा. It is already there in the OneNote. I explained it yesterday. Read it. If you don't understand anything, let me know. We'll discuss it again. But you can. This is not something which we can skip. So standard and basic जो है ये आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा एक बार. मतलब there is no rocket science, कोई technical बहुत ज़्यादा ये है नहीं उसमें. But you need to understand that. You need to read it at least. Here is the difference. कहा गया basic, standard. Somewhere here it is in this table. Even if it is not there, a simple Google search will give you the answer. Here,
Right,
basic is
down
free,
there in the
standard is
window.
chargeable, rule-based charge.
Go below.
First five are free, and
नीचे
here basic and
आगे
standard. More the details I have shared. Okay, तो बस आपको याद करना है. I told you yesterday also, and I have been telling you again and again. If you don't understand what is a TCP and HTTP exactly, but I hope by now you guys understand what is TCP and HTTP, HTTPS. Even if you don't understand, that is fine. But you have to say this in your interview. That health probes in basic, they're only TCP and HTTP. In standard, it is TCP, HTTP, and HTTPS. VM in availability set or scale set, 1000 instances, 100 instances. Here we have 1000 instances. Even if you don't understand or for that moment you cannot recall it कि exactly मतलब क्या है 1100 का, that doesn't matter, but say it. Okay, so let's go ahead with the practical. We selected those options. Now there are two options to configure a load balancer. One is you can just create it and configure it later. The other option is you configure it while creating. So what we will do is we will create it first, later we will configure it. So you will see more options. And how will it help? Because sometimes, not every time you will get to create a load balancer from scratch. Most of the cases will be there that there is a load balancer and these are the new 10 servers, new VNet, XYZ. You guys are preparing this and then attaching this to the existing load balancer. So you should know that also. Going back to the next page. Having said that we will configure it later, but there are some mandatory, in fact, there is only one mandatory thing which you have to configure while creating it, or you cannot go ahead without that. So if something is mandatory, you have to do that. It won't let you go. See, if I do not add a front end IP, it will not let me go ahead. Now, what is the front end IP? I'll open the VGO graph here, the diagram. This is the IP where users are connecting. This is the load balancers front end IP, public IP. Is it clear, guys, to everyone till here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm creating a public IP here. Now, literally, can I type an IP? How do we acquire a public IP? Can I type an IP address here? Do we have that feature in Azure? Can I simply type an IP address here?
No.
Then how can I have it IP address?
It is automatically assigned.
Right. You just have to create one, what do you say? A public IP entity you have to create. It will assign the IP address automatically. So I'm adding a front end IP configuration. I'm giving a name. It could be any name. You will have the naming convention always. So here we have been following tsoft load balancer. That is our load balancer's type name. So I'll just type suffix as PIP. That's a short form for public IP. Okay, IPv4, IPv4. That is fine. Choose a public IP. If I have an existing IP, I can choose it from here. Okay, can I take one of these IPs, guys?
No, maybe it has been used already.
Maybe. Why? What do you mean by maybe?
Not maybe, it is used, so that's why it's reflecting there.
Irrespective it is used or not, it clearly says here cannot be associated with this load balancer. It could be any reason. Maybe it is in use. Maybe it is not compatible. Could be any reason. Most of the time it is used. That is the reason, 90%. Okay, but could other reason also be there? Maybe it is reserved for something, not being used, but it is reserved. Okay, so here you can clearly see that you cannot. The IP address of the first machine, guys. But what did we take? I see a different IP address here. 20. Okay, not sure what it is. We'll see that later. Why the IP address is looking different to what we have. Okay, but you cannot associate. Which can be associated? Here it is the header. Can be associated with the load balancer. Do we have any IP in this section? In this sector, we do not have any IP, which means we have to create IP. So we'll create a new IP. Again, you have to add a name. Standard IP. One thing to understand, guys, if you are keeping this load balancer as standard, this one I'm talking about SKU. If your load balancer SKU is standard, then your IP has to standard. Here it will by default take standard, that there's no mistake or there's no scope to make a mistake. But if I'm using an existing IP and that is the basic one, later you will not be able to use. यहाँ से मैंने कोई basic choose कर लिया. Now I'm not even sure if it will allow us to change. It will. मतलब last time when I created, it was allowing us to choose the basic, but later on it will throw an error. Now, if there is any update, that is a different thing, but you can choose basic. So you have to make sure that when you're choosing, if you're not creating one, if you're choosing an existing one, so that public IP has to have standard SKU. But I hope you know that IPs may be standard or basic hai. Now, what is the difference? If you want to know, go ahead and read it. बहुत मतलब rare कि कभी मैंने देखा नहीं ऐसा question, but yes, you should know this. In public IP, there are SKUs, basic and standard. Differences you can check. What is the difference between in this one? Microsoft routing and internet routing. Who can tell me? If even if you can explain after reading, it's fine with me. We have discussed what is a Microsoft network and what is internet. Obviously, you know. Yes, guys.
So
Does it depend on
Microsoft,
the? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, tell. It's okay. Because Microsoft routing is nothing but using Microsoft backbone network. Internet is our own internet ISP provider.
Backbone network, that is the word I was looking for. So whenever they're talking about Microsoft, you should use the word, this jargon, the Microsoft backbone network. Again, even if you don't understand that what it is, use it. I told you it's hardly an interview of 40 minutes. They're not going to cross question everything, right? So make sure you use these jargons. Correct answer. Perfect. Gateway load balancer, we're not doing that as of now. So I have added a front-end IP configuration for my load balancer. I'm clicking on next. Backend. I can add the backend pool from here, but I don't want to do that. We'll do that later once we configure. Now, what is a backend pool? Though we are not configuring it, I'll just explain it. This is your backend pool. I mean, whichever machines are there, that is your backend. Inbound rules. That what should be the load balancing rules. I won't explain it here because we are going to do this once it is clear. But as I told you, you can configure it while creating, or you can configure it later. We have decided to configure it later, but front-end IP was a mandatory thing, hence we had to do that. The rest everything, I'll click next, and create it. It is creating. If anyone has questions, please let me.
So in main working environment, we do all this using PowerShell, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If there are maybe 50 or hundreds are there, you have to create, then you will use PowerShell. But for 1 or 2 or 3, even 5, you won't use PowerShell.
Okay.
Machines are, if you're talking about virtual machines also, maybe 3 or 5 machines, no one will advise you to go and you see, because when it comes to Terraform and PowerShell, in practice, it is a different thing that we are reusing the scripts. Specifically, when it comes to Terraform, it is highly recommended that never use a script again. Create a new script. So now just imagine creating a new script for one load balancer. Doesn't even make sense. I mean, I start typing the new script. It's better I'll go to portal and I'll get it done in 2 minutes. So we don't follow that. वो होता नहीं है. हर कोई reuse करता रहता है script को. But just saying it.
Okay.
And if it is happening with the PowerShell, you don't have to worry. Your team lead or your technical lead or architects or seniors, anyone who's been working, they will have the script. No one is going to ask you to write a script from scratch. You simply have to go to this PowerShell, run the script. But उसके बाद configuration तो हमको वैसे भी करना ही है. So you deploy it from here or there, it's okay. Just if you're asking from a practice purpose, yesterday I shared a link with few of you. There you will see the PowerShell also. If it is there, you want to practice. Obviously, it is a good, welcoming task. You can definitely do that. It's a good move. But do not like one of our members here, Hussein, was he's good with PowerShell. So he managed to get some scripts for PowerShell and he started building machines PowerShell. But I asked him not to do that. Why? Because he will not see. See, when you do it from PowerShell, PowerShell will take only mandatory options, and you will not even see what all options are there on the screen. So initially, I always prefer portal. Once you are well versed with the portal, then you go ahead and deal with PowerShell. Okay, so now we have the load balancer. TSOF load balancer is in place. Now the point is, or We have the public IP also. Okay, we should see it here somewhere. Let me see. Here it is. Now, can you guys go ahead and check this public IP if you are able to access anything, or I've sent it in the chat also. And I'm sure you can see it. Just open the browser and see if you are able to access anything. It's not expected to see anything, just for you to understand the practical, we are doing these steps. Otherwise, it wasn't compulsory to check all those. I created those machines an hour back. Right? I would have I would have amended the website that time itself. But why am I doing it? Just for your understanding this step by step. Okay, not accessible, that's fine. We were not even expecting any results. So this is our load balancer, guys. It shows the overview. Under overview, what will you see? The resource group name, subscription name, location, SKU standard hai, basic hai, tags obviously, NAT rules, it shows 0. Now when we create, you will see it. Health probe shows 0, will create, you will see it. Load balancing rule, we will have to create, you will see it. Backend pool, you will have to create and you will see it here then later. Activity log, all of you know what is it. IAM, you know it. Tags, you know it. This is the place, guys, where you can come. This is something which I will not be covering in the training. I've told you because it is not possible to cover this large section. And more than that, it is not a part of your job what we are going to portray. We are planning to show you as an implementation teams part. And we are planning to target the same jobs. Still, for added advantage, you can go ahead and read this, that what kind of issues do you get with load balancer. So the configuration and setup, if there is any issue, no connectivity to the backend pool, if that is the issue, connectivity to the outbound, management, performance, connectivity inbound. These kind of issues you can face. Click on anyone, you will see the troubleshooting steps. I mean, you don't need me here. See, it is loading. So you can, you can go ahead and check this and you can read the description here and you can read the solution also here. And in your interview, you can use this. Any of these you can use. Okay, there was a load balancer and we are facing some problem with the performance and with performance, what was the issue? So see, these can be the load balancer distribution issues or load balancer cross region load balancer issues. So maybe you can select this and these are the steps they will give. You can read, and the same thing you can in your interview, even they have videos. So if you want to go in this path, please feel free to come here in the troubleshooting section. And this is not for load balancer. I have been saying you, this section is available for all resources. This is your, by default homework, or it's good for your practice. Whenever you want to do it. So this section is done. Now it's the setting section, the configuration one. Front-end IP, we did not have any option to skip that, though, so we have to configure it. We already configured that. So let's leave it. Now backend pool. What is backend pool? I already explained. This is my front-end IP. Okay, let's, by the way, copy the front-end IP. So our visual diagram should look good. Okay, so this is the front-end IP I have. Now this front-end IP, it needs to have some backend. Otherwise, abhi tak koi kaam ka hai ki you tried accessing this IP. You don't see anything, right? In backend, what will I add? I will add those servers jiska mujhko load balancer banana hai. Backend pool name, anything. Tsoft backend pool 001. Why am I getting a name and everything options? Because I could have multiple backends under one front load पे एक जो है front end IP हो सकता है, यहाँ पे एक backend में 3 मशीन है, इस तरह के multiple backend pools I can attach to this one load balancer. अब उसको segregate कैसे होगा? We'll discuss that. Okay. So which VNet we have been using? This VNet. Backend pool NIC based पे बनाना है IP पे. So obviously we are discussing IP based. Okay, we are waiting for it to appear. So let's see if we, okay, NIC based पे आ गया. That's okay. So these are the machines which we are adding. Load balancer VM1, 2 and 3. We can add 2 also. We can add 3 also. As of now, we are adding all of this. Save. Our backend pool is ready now. This is our backend pool. Our front-end IP has been assigned. Our backend pool is ready. That does not mean you can simply go ahead and start using that. If you still go to that server, you will not see anything till now. Okay, this is working. Let this finish. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, it has been done. Now, the next thing we will be talking about is health probe. Now, what are the health probe? You remember we talked about DNS and everything, but I told you that DNS cannot do anything other than routing those names to the IP numbers. उसके अलावा DNS कुछ नहीं कर सकता है, right? So here we have health probe. Health probe भी multiple लगाए जा सकते हैं. We are using first one. So I'll type it's internet. As of now, because why internet? Because I'm talking about the website. When we talk about the RDP, we'll take something else. Which protocol I'm using there? HTTP. What is the port number for HTTP? 80. I mean, this is not something which I'm teaching. It is by default and it is standard. You need to know this. Path, let's ignore this. But what is it? Let's say that I have a website. Okay. Website may you guys know there are sections and subsections. For example, there is an intranet page. Intranet पे leaves का section आ सकता है, payroll का आ सकता है. So if I am creating something for one specific, कि उस website का भी मुझको सिर्फ जो payroll वाला section है, उसके लिए मुझको ये करना है, health probe लगाना है और load balancer बनाना है. That I can achieve from here. But in our case, we have only a single website, so we are not going to change anything here. I told you guys initially, there are many options. If you don't understand all of them, it's okay. You have to understand the concept. Guys, less than a minute is remaining. If it stops, I will restart the session using the same link. Okay. Now, the